Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. You are live with me, Jimmy Smith, on Facebook Live 101s. I am a career navigator at the Northwest Career Center, and I'm here today to share a little bit of information to help you about networking. One of my favorite things to say in this job is getting a job isn't what you know, it's who you know. And so, how do you get to know more people? How do you get to expand your networks and your circles? I'm gonna help you that with that today with LinkedIn. So I'm going to kind of go through some of the basics of LinkedIn, and but before I get into that and tell you how you can expand your network, I want to tell you a little bit about our centers because I have some great news to share with you. We are opening the centers back up soon. Right now, they are open to the public, but by appointment only. And we do appointment only just to kind of keep the social distancing at bay right now. But very soon, like maybe the second half of this month, will be open live to everyone at any time. You can come in, just stay close to your local center because employers are still hiring. And if you're looking for employment right now, there's several places to go. One of my favorite places to go is the Maryland Workforce Exchange. And there's your link right there, or the URL, mwejobs.maryland.gov. We've got hundreds of jobs listed there, hundreds of employers. If you're in the job market, that's where you need to be. And then we also have our Now Hiring Job Board that we instituted when COVID started. And so that's the link there, moed.baltimorecity.gov/job seekers/now hiring. We've got a lot of different employers that are listed there. They're grouped by industry. So if you're into hospitality, if you're into warehousing or whatever it is, they're grouped. And they also have a connect, someone that you can reach out to and talk that will kind of be a midpoint person, a matchmaker for you in that job opportunity. So again, our career centers are open. If you need some assistance, come in, let us help you out. And so we'll get in a little bit into LinkedIn. And so the question that people ask me all the time is, why do I need LinkedIn anyway? And it's a good question. There's all kinds of different social media out there. LinkedIn is a social media platform that's just geared for professional networking. That's the whole purpose of it. If you want to uh, find a job, you want to get linked into some opportunities. That's essentially what this is about. There are currently over 30 million companies on LinkedIn. And one of the things that they tout is that every 2 seconds, every second, two users join. So there's 660 million members currently, and they're constantly evolving. And again, if you want to know someone that works at Johns Hopkins, or maybe you want to know if you know someone who works at Social Security, this is the easiest way to do that. You can create a profile, you upload your resume, you can search for jobs, you can join groups. There's all kinds of different ways that you can access this. You can access it through your desktop, through your mobile phone. There's many ways that you can utilize this, and I would highly encourage you, if you're in the job market, to use LinkedIn. So, the main reason why you want to use LinkedIn is to gain exposure to hiring managers and recruiters. So, the numbers are 93% of recruiters use it to search for and find candidates. So, again, 93%, that is a huge number. I can't tell you any other place that you can go and find that many recruiters and hiring managers that go there. Like, I don't want to say exclusively, but that's like the first place they go to look for people to find to fill their vacancies. On this site, you can demonstrate what you can do, you can list all of your accomplishments. And what is also important about this is that people can endorse you. People that you worked with previously can say, "Oh yeah, I worked with Jimmy. He's great at this." Or I worked with Jimmy at this place, or I employed Jimmy. He worked for me at this place, and he's great. You want that endorsement because, again, we live in this social media world, and you know, when I'm hungry, I go to Uber Eats, and before I order at a place that I've never been before, I look at the reviews. I want to know what someone else's experience was, what they ordered, what they specialize in as far as foods, what things weren't good on the menu. We all look for endorsements. LinkedIn allows you to have endorsements that endorse you. Jimmy's great. He's a hard worker. He learns fast. And so that way you don't have to always speak for yourself, and that goes a long way. You can follow companies and see what companies that you want to work for, what messages they're putting out, what initiatives they're doing, what's important to them, because you want to match them if you want to work for them. And the most important thing about LinkedIn is to build your brand. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but that is a new catchphrase in employment, building a brand. Who are you? Uh, Again, back to the marketing aspect of things, you look at a company like Nike or something like that, they have a brand. And when you think about them, you think about the excellence of their brand. You want to do the same thing about yourself. Who are you? What you stand for? Things that you've accomplished. Building your brand helps, and it goes a long way, especially in today's market. So I'm going to help you get started today. LinkedIn, there's a ton of resources out there about LinkedIn. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that will walk you through getting started. And I highly encourage you to do that because people will give you tips and tricks. And I'm only here for a short amount of time, so I'm only going to go over the basics to get you started. But this is a robust site, and there's so much here you can do. You can search for jobs. Again, you can join groups. You can write your own articles. There's so much you can do on LinkedIn. So again, if you want a little bit more knowledge about it, LinkedIn itself on the website has a whole knowledge base that will help you and help you learn what to do there. But I'm just going to get you started by going to linkedin.com, creating a profile. It's free. It takes about 10 to 12 minutes to set up your profile. You get to upload your resume, and then you build your connections through contacts. And it does a good job of going through your inbox of your email and already connecting you to people that's already on LinkedIn. So that's great. Then you want to join groups to connect with others in your field. So if I'm a welder, I want to talk to other welders. Guess what? When welding opportunities come up, who know? I mean, those people who work in those jobs now, they know, hey, my employer is hiring for another welder. They put that information out on LinkedIn. And again, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And this is why this is such a great opportunity. So here's the basics of your profile page. I just want to get you familiar with it a little bit. As I talk about some of the aspects of it, you can at least have an idea of what it is. So this is your profile. On here, you list who you are, again, your brand. If you have a URL, a special URL, that's great. This tells you how strong your profile strength is. And that means how many of the aspects you filled out to the degree that they like. And the idea is to be 100%. That means you put all your contacts in and you put your skills in and all of those things. And they'll let you know. They list your contacts if your contacts had something to say or they posted something. All of that shows up on your feed here. So this is a snapshot of just what it looks like. It shows who's viewed your page, shows how many people you're connected to. If you've got an email that's come in, it's listed there at the top. This is just the basics of it. Notice that this profile page has a professional photo. That is very important. We're going to talk about building your profile a little bit. But notice when you come in here, your eye is drawn right to the picture. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and this helps out a lot. Let's go to the next slide. These are all of the individual sections that as you build your profile, LinkedIn does a good job of walking you through setting up each of these different settings. So I'll talk about them. This is just a list of all of them. I'll go into more detail with each of them. So let's start with the first one, professional photo and heading. This is who you are. This is what you're about. Your tagline, your branding, who you are. I'm a IT professional with 25 years in project management or that sort of thing. You also want to use as I mentioned, a professional photo. If we can go to the next slide, I'll go into more detail with that. So your profile is 11 times more likely to be seen if you have a photo. just like that, 11 times more likely. So, and again, you want to list your heading, your job title, or your tagline, or what you stand for, or what you're trying to do. And then a little summary, just a little something about who you are. What's your story? What can you do for employers? I can generate revenue, I can save money. Um, you want to list key accomplishments or highlights, anything that you do that you specialize in. These are the things that you want to list there because it's like a little snapshot. You don't want to tell too much because nobody's going to read all that. But just a little short snapshot is a good way to go. And then a little summary about yourself. What I highly recommend people do is go and look at other profiles, see how other people market and promote themselves, and take things that you can use for yourself. If I'm a welder, again, I might look for other welders on there and see how they market and promote themselves. What type of tagline do they use? How do they write their summary? And if it's something that I think I can utilize, I'm gonna borrow some of it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Look at other profiles for sure. The next section is experience. I think this is probably the most important thing on this profile. What you've done, who you've done it for, and some of the accomplishments. Now, one of the things I want to caution you on is trying to be too much, trying to be too many people all at the same time. Uh, Research shows that job seekers, have somewhere between 4 and 7 job lives. And too often we try to be all 4 to 7 people simultaneously. And it gets confusing for the employer or somebody who's trying to figure out who you are and what you're about. And so you might want to pare yourself down to, as far as a LinkedIn profile, specialize. Maybe this profile is just going to be towards my warehouse work or as a machine operator, and try not to be too many things so I could focus on jobs and activities and things that I did that are in a special industry and not, 7 different industries. I want to focus on career highlights, accomplishments, and awards. That's important. I want to sell the sizzle here and not the steak. So what's sexy about what I've done? What's important? What would somebody say, hey, that's pretty neat? Tell me more about that. These are the things that you want to list here. A high career highlights, accomplishments, and awards. And again, from here, someone can recommend you. So I can say I was a project manager making video games, and then I can have my colleagues say, "Oh, Jimmy was a great project manager. I worked for him for 4 years. These are the accomplishments. These are the things that we did." Then we have recommendations, and so there's recommendations and endorsements, and those are two separate things on LinkedIn. But recommendations help you build credibility. And you want to get them from previous employers, you want to get them from colleagues. If you had a teacher or a trainer, someone that knows you that can vouch for you, right? And so, my advice to you is you want to get as many recommendations as possible. But what I will tell you is it's 2021, people are busy, we've got a lot of different things on our plate, and not too many people are going to have time to sit down and write you. Uh, a good recommendation. Maybe that'll happen. What I would say is take the initiative. If you want someone to write a recommendation for you, I would write it for them and say, and of course, you want to ask them if they would recommend you. And if they say they will, write it for them so that you can control the message and the brand. Again, what you want to say. They can say all kinds of things about me, but maybe I want to build the brand that I'm a nice guy, right? And so I don't. Maybe somebody might want to write a recommendation and talk about I'm a hard worker, and that's great, and I like that, and I don't want to discourage someone saying that I'm a hard worker, but I'm trying to build a brand that I'm a nice guy. So if I could write the recommendation ahead of time and give it to my contact and focus more on the fact that I'm a nice guy. Uh, Again, someone who's already said that they would do that for me is not going to have a problem with me writing it for them. And again, they can change it or they can amend it, but they get the gist of I'm trying to say that I'm a nice guy, and it saves time for them, and most of the time you'll get that recommendation back quicker than if you let them do it on their own. So it's a great idea to write a recommendation. Then you have skills. Skills, as I mentioned before, can be endorsed by people that you work for. And someone can say, "Oh, project manager, yeah, I know Jimmy did that. Welder, yeah, Jimmy can do that." And people can endorse your skills. So you want to list all the skills again that profile to the person that you're trying to be on LinkedIn, and ask your contacts to endorse you. It's very easy for them to endorse you, and you want to add as many keywords or as many skills that you think are going to be important for an employer. The best way to do that is go look at a job posting. I want to be a welder. I'm going to look for welder job postings, and I'm going to look for the keywords in the posting that make sense and the ones that I know. So if I have those particular skills, 3G, 4G certification, overhead welding, whatever it is, I'm going to make sure I list that. And then wherever possible, I'm going to get my contacts to endorse those skills. In addition to that, there's certifications, what type of education that you've had, any organizations, any projects that you have, and any special languages that you know. And I grouped all of these together on one slide because these are tertiary things. Not everyone is going to have stuff to say here, but where you do, you want to make sure you list it, okay? Especially languages. We have a very diverse world. You definitely want to list that. If you belong to a fraternity or sorority, you know the power of that affiliation. You definitely want to list that organization here so someone knows, oh, there's a connection there. Uh, my recommendation about education is only list education that is completed. If you are in the midst of matriculating towards your degree in accounting, that's great. What you don't want to list is that you're in school and it just looks like you're in this perpetual, I'm matriculating, I'm moving there. Once you've achieved those accomplishments, list them on there. Okay, you don't still want to put some college that diminishes what you're doing. Wait till you've completed those accomplishments and those achievements and those certifications and list them on here. Okay, groups. So groups are great because again, it allows you to cluster with like-minded individuals. I'm a welder. I want to know what's happening in the world of welding. I want to know the new welding techniques. I want to know the new employers that are coming to town that are hiring fabricators. How do I know all these things? I'm going to stay connected to a group of welders. And so there are groups for everything. Um, Mostly it's going to be affiliated with whatever job that you are working, but there are all kinds of different groups, puppy lovers, horse owners. It's all kinds of information on there. Um, you want to just kind of gravitate towards, again, in my case, welders. And anything that someone posts in a group about welding that I'm affiliated or connected with, I'm going to see. It's going to come up in my feed. So I'll know, hey, we've got a new company who's coming to town and they're hiring fabricators. Hey, there's a job fair just for welders that's happening on Friday. All that information will show up in my feed so I can see what's going on. So I can receive information from influencers, news articles, um, my different groups, all of those things come into my feed, and it allows me to stay current with the particular industry that I'm working in, which is great because sometimes those industries, things happen fast, things change fast. And so this is a great way to stay current with your industry. So here's some best practices about LinkedIn, some things that you need to, if you didn't get everything, these are the most important things that you should do. Number one, make sure you upload a professional photo. That's the most important thing. And remember, profiles with photos get 11 times more activity, more views. And that's what you want. You want people to look at you because remember, 93% of employers use LinkedIn to find people. So if they're most of those employers are coming there and then you stand a better chance of them looking at you because there's a picture, that's the way you want to go. Doesn't take much. And when I say professional photo, that means maybe in front of a white wall, not a lot of distraction. You want to dress professionally. You want to look the part. All right, just like you would show up on your interview that day. Uh, Make sure you use keywords in your title and throughout your profile. Okay, this adds credentials to your brand. Use the keywords. If you're not sure which keywords you should be using, look at a job posting. Those job postings are littered with those keywords, and you know that's the jargon, that's the language that you want to use, especially if you're in that industry. Okay, if people are hiring people, they know what an overhead welder is, or what a 4G certification is, or 3G. These are things that they know in the industry. Make sure that you put those things in there. It's important. Attach your targeted resume with relevant work experience. And I say targeted resume, and I don't want to turn this into my resume workshop, but too often we get a resume, someone might make one for us, or I might have my one that I spent 2 hours on, and we get married to it, and we don't want to change it. And what I will tell you is don't get married, change that resume daily. You want to always be updating it to sound better, to promote yourself better. And the best way to do that is just look at what other people are doing, and see how you can gain some insight on how you can enhance what you have and make it better. So you want to write a summary on your profile that is personal and compelling. Again, look at others and see what they say, see how they say it, and then read yours. Is it compelling? Does it showcase and highlight who you are? And if it doesn't, you need to make sure that it does. That's the best way for you to speak for yourself. Request recommendations from colleagues or professors, endorsements, recommendations. Everybody who can vouch for the work that you've done in the past, let them come in here and do that. Let them say how well you did certain things. Again, this is the world that we live in now. Endorsements are everything. No one goes to a restaurant without reading the reviews. That's exactly the world that we live in. Very few people just get hired without someone vouching for it. It's again back to the same thing about getting hired and what you know, it's who you know. Those people, I'm sure we all have worked somewhere where someone internally helped you get that job. Well, without having that in place the way it is, you can kind of do that in a virtual world using social media and letting people endorse you. You always want to double check your profile for errors or typos. Compare yours to others. Let other people look at yours and give you feedback and guidance to make sure that your profile is as good as can be. And so, with that, there's a brief intro into the world of LinkedIn. And I do say a world because there's so much more to it. I didn't want to take up too much time today. I just wanted to give you the essentials. Uh, if you want more info about it, again, YouTube is a great resource. The LinkedIn page itself has a knowledge base. There's a lot of information. If you have questions, they will guide you through things. They will help you if you've got any questions about that. Aside from that, as I mentioned before, our career centers are going to be right now. They're open to the public. They're open to anyone who has an appointment. Find your local career center, call them, and schedule an appointment to come in and work with someone. And in the next few weeks, check with us because we should be open to the public and allowing free access to everyone. We're still going to be using social distancing methods, so you will be screened, and we'll make sure that you wear a mask, and that we'll still try to be as safe as possible. But look for us to be opening very soon. I can't wait to see you. And with that, you guys have a good day, and we'll see you soon on Facebook Live on the Ones.